I'm not mad at the top 10 right now. I'm not mad at this. Curry, amazing playmaker, still the best shooter in the NBA. Really good on-ball creation. Crater alongside him. I'm not mad at it at all. I think that we are getting close to the point where Curry and LeBron are a bit interchangeable at this point. They provide a lot of value in many different ways. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it whatsoever. Actually, those are great. I think that KD is the better defender out of the three. The playmaking between LeBron and Curry definitely does make up for that gap. And number 6, not mad at this either. I think that they're anticipating a pretty large jump for Ant as well as everyone else. There was a quote from Sean that said that Ant was looking at some MJ and Kobe film for their post work, footwork, mid-range shooting to kind of go out there and get a bucket when they needed him to do so. In late game situations. I love it. I love that. I think he needs to work on his passing, playmaking, anticipating. Become a better anticipation passer. I think that's what he needs to do. I like that. Kyrie is not in the top 100. Yes, Kyrie's not in the top 100. He's not in the top 100. I know he's hurt. Yeah, Kyrie's not in the top 100. Neither is Howard, neither is Dame, neither is Tatum. So we all them out. Number 5, Victor Wembanyama. This is where the potential comes into play. I will say this: Wemby did have a stretch last year where he could definitely have made the argument that he was a fringe top 5 player. And going off of that stretch and believing that he can build off of that, I have no problem with the selection. I have no problem with the top 10 selection. Wemby was amazing with that. What are they predicting him to average? 25, 12, and 4 blocks. Not bad. He's not even 4. They're anticipating a pretty large jump for him as well as everyone else. The Giannis hate is so fucking unnecessary. It's unnecessary. There is no fucking way anybody in their life saw what Shea just did in the postseason with the best roster in the NBA, still struggled to be the performer that he needed to be in the postseason. And then you're telling me that Giannis isn't better than that man? That's what you're saying? I'm a Laker fan. Luka is ahead of him. I follow the shit. But even with my wildest imagination, do I believe that Luka would even come close to what I think what Giannis is going to do in my wildest imagination this year? Giannis is about to step on the floor where it will be 5 out and he will be the primary ball handler every single time down the floor. That nigga already averages 30, 10, 5. That nigga already shoots 60% from the field. That nigga is already, outside of Wemby, who now they're saying in the top 5, he's already the best defender in the top 5. Already. If we're going to be flamboyant, extravagant with our predictions, Giannis just came off a year also where he was by far the best mid-range shooting season of his career. And it wasn't just the best of a low bar compared to what he used to do. Giannis was just a really good mid-range shooter last year. So we're saying a really great mid-range shooter, and an excellent passer and playmaker, historically great finisher, the best defender in the top 5, depending on if you have Wemby in your top 5 or not, who's going to touch the ball, probably have a crazy usage rate, have a 5-man next to him that will also allow him to switch and roam way more than he did with Brook Lopez. Why would you not put him higher? What the fuck are we talking about? Giannis is coming off a season in which he averaged 30-point double-double and finished second in league scoring behind only SGA. If the Bucks had finished higher in the standings, he would have gotten more MVP love, but still secures a top 4 finish in voting for the 7th consecutive season. That's crazy. That's another thing. People got to stop acting as if like I'll be sitting here and I'll listen to people argue about like Giannis' status amongst all-time greats. Similar thing with Jokic, but like people have like fallen out of love with this idea of arguing where Giannis ranks amongst all-time greats, as if like I'm just still waiting for him to give me more years. This nigga has been doing it for we're now. I think this year will make a decade. He'll be on his 10th All-NBA selection. This year will make 10 All-NBA selection. This is not someone that is like, oh, I don't know. This is someone. I want to be clear, just so y'all have an understanding. There's only 28 players who would have more. Once he now has just as many as KG, just as many as Russ, GP, more than Dwight, more than Wade, Pippen.
What do you got for me?
Once he hits 10.
A tablet I found, dropped by one of our people. Do you think you can fix it?
Ouch. Wish I could say yes. But what this tablet needs is a prayer, not a scientist. You said it belongs to someone in the Resistance?
Yeah. Human, based on the boot prints I found nearby, and female, judging from the audio recording I snagged from it. They make a point to record in privacy, away from HQ.
A human female. Well, that narrows it down. Good luck.
Reinventing his game by trading in threes for more mid-range jumpers, and it has made him more efficient. Giannis remains perhaps the league's premier two-way threat, but he hasn't played.
Any idea who might own that broken tablet?
They went up.
He hasn't played in the conference finals, semifinals since 2022. So now we're talking about postseason success. I want everybody to understand something. Before last year, how many conference finals did Shea win? Y'all had no problem with putting
the intricacy of life here.
In these
Endlessly
conversations.
fascinating.
That nigga's never touched the conference finals. And be very mindful that you're taxing
Remember your training as you take aim.
Him being hurt or a teammate of his being hurt. It's not as if like niggas is out there losing.
Have you been out in the rainforest recently?
Like,
Well, yeah. I'm a pilot. I go out all the time. Gotta keep an eye on those RDA patrols, you know? Any chance you drop... What?
You
look comfortable with that weapon.
Nothing a little duct tape happens.
Come to gear up? You take care of yourself.
From behind the arc. Shea wasn't even like extravagantly
Hi, Danny.
into weapon last year. In the
Other
first
than the field
round,
lab, is it
outside of
possible?
one game,
No, I don't.
the first
If I
game
leave
of
something
this
for you to...
four-game series, he shot 35% from the field and 25% from behind the arc. What the fuck are we talking about? And they still won. Denver is the best shooting series. But then he goes on to go to Minnesota.
Turns out the log I brought for Jin had something.
Choose with care.
Bro, he shoots
Be
45%
safe.
from the field and 27% from the three-point line. If he wasn't getting to the free throw line 10 times, making 89% of them, bro, his shooting scoring efficiency will be dog shit.
Condoms all about unobtainium. Containment from matter-antimatter reaction.
Western Conference Finals MVP champion. It isn't hyperbolic to declare that Shea's 2024-25 season ranks
At least we no longer have to
ranks
get
among
Why did you say tablet when I mentioned missing gear? I didn't say just the first thing that... What are you thinking of? Where in the hell did Anarana gather appointed me? What? I recovered some odd... Shit. We do not talk about this here.
Has a player that has a very comparable year. The only real difference would be is if they
Almost seems happy with settling in.
I think I ate too much, but it was so good.
But he didn't win MVP. Is this year Shea just significantly better because he won MVP? When KD and them were winning back to back, and KD was doing that shit that he was doing, does this mean that Shea's season is significantly better because Shea won MVP? This is a great season, not denying that. But it's like this is a season that's also comparable. Basically, every player that wins a championship, that year that the Bucks won, and Giannis went on to win Finals MVP, but he didn't win League MVP. So is that not a comparable year to what we just saw from Shea? Like, there's several years where this occurs pretty frequently. When the Nuggets won the championship and Jokic won Finals MVP, he didn't win League MVP. So just because he didn't win League MVP, that doesn't mean that it's not comparable to what we just saw from Shea. I feel like what he did isn't enough to justify him being over Giannis or Luka, especially if you're being optimistic about what's about to happen this next year. How does SGA continue to improve? He has steadily become a more efficient scorer and had a career best 63.7 true shooting percentage last season when he made and attempted by far the most threes, 163 of 435, 37.5 of his career. Continue to expand his range will make him even more difficult to defend. He has also shown a steady progress as a playmaker, averaging a career best 6.4 assists, a number that could increase again as his young supporting cast blossoms as a scoring option. I'm gonna be honest with you, Shea would be better as a player if he became more off-ball oriented. I think if I were to ask how does Shea improve his game, be better off-ball, be a better off-ball threat. That's what I would. That would be my actual answer. I'm not. No, if someone positioned the question to you, how would SGA get better? How does he improve? The area of his game I would say he should improve would be him being an off-ball threat. That's what I would. And I think him being an off-ball threat would also improve the rest of his teammates because they would have to be more. The team would have to be a bit more dependent on the shot creation of J-Dub and Chet. J-Dub and Chet, for OKC to be better, needs to be more viable offensive weapons. The only reason why they were close to even losing against the Pacers is because on any given night, you had absolutely no idea what you're going to get from J-Dub and Chet. And that was actually that was basically how it was for the entire postseason. And it shouldn't be that way. J-Dub did have he had a broken hand, to be fair to J-Dub. Yeah, that's right. And then you have I think it's Jokic 1, and then Giannis 2, Luka 3, Shea 4. And I don't even have a problem with Wemby being 5. That would be my 5. Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Shea, Wemby. That's what I would do. I don't think there's nothing that I saw from Shea last year that makes me believe that he's now better than what we predict that Luka is going to look like this upcoming season or Giannis. There's literally nothing. There's nothing that he did that makes me think
embarrassing.
He'll be better than.
I went to that spot specifically so no one would have to be subjected to my nonsense. All of it? Oh, all of it. That's great. Ugh, why did I go to that spot in the first place? I guess you were thinking, I'm not exactly the best. You know the saying, love me, even without, I can't fix it.
Why can I then just say that, well, Giannis is probably going to improve in terms of passing and playmaking? That's not realistic. Like, someone said add Jokic's points. They only have him at 29, so it's not that great.
Energy's gonna fall out of this thing.
And still get like 15. Luka didn't get worse. Niggas on the YouTube channel saying Luka got worse. Luka didn't get worse. So defense don't count. Shea is not a good enough defender to usurp the offensive aspects that everybody else is providing. But even if you want to say that's the case, then nigga, he's not better than Giannis then. If you're sitting there saying that defense matters, then why the fuck isn't Giannis over both of them niggas then? Fuck are we talking about? Even if I were to say that he's a negative defensive, which is fine, bro. The things in which Luka provides on the offensive side of the floor is way more. And the value in which Shea provides defensively is not anywhere near close to the value in which is being made up by the value of Luka's offense. Because Shea is not the primary defender, but the secondary defender. Nigga, Shea is, for the most part, Shea ends up on the weakest offensive player on the opposing team. Shea is on a team with Lou Dort, J-Dub,
Samson really needs a refresh.
So he's never really defending the best offensive weapon. So you're not even receiving that much value from his defense. He spends most of his time defending the same niggas that Luka defends. They both defend the same niggas. Congrats to Shea.
I guess I could get
He does
used
a
to
better
it.
job defending Patrick Williams on a random Thursday night in the regular season while Caruso's guarding Kobe White, my nigga. That doesn't mean that he's a better player because they're more successful at defending arguably the weakest offensive player on the opposing team. That's not really providing enough value. While on the other hand, Luka is shot creating just as well as Shea. He's passing and playmaking worlds better than Shea. He's finishing just as good as Shea as well.
You
Every
look comfortable
possession they
with a
come
ball,
down on the offensive side
like a
of the
true
floor,
duckpin.
Luka is going to
want to
provide you
feel
more
like
value,
one
and it's
with
noticeable. And on the defensive side, yes, Shea is going to provide you more value, but the value that he provides isn't of significance because he's not defending anyone of significance. No one's not saying that Luka doesn't get hunted. No one is not saying
Wish
that
Dad could see me
Shea
now.
is a better defender. No one's not saying that. We're
still
saying
hate
what
it.
is the value? What is the value of Shea's defense? That's the question. What is the value of Shea's defense? That's the question. Is Shea's value defensively more valuable than the value that is being provided from Luka as a passer and playmaker? Is that what y'all are saying? Actually, let's ask that question. Who do you think is providing? I have Jokic. Yeah, that's another. Who do you think is providing more value? Especially because it's to the YouTube chat. Who do you think is providing more value? Shea's defense or Luka's playmaking? Obviously, Luka's playmaking. So why is Wemby?
Could use another generator.
I'm not
Before.
as high on Wemby's offensive game as a lot of people. I'm not that high on Wemby's offensive game. Some people be really jacked and shit. It's a tie. A nigga thinks that it's a tie.
Science stuck in my head.
Y'all in chat. Yeah, y'all in chat. No one's not saying Luka doesn't like defense. The value that he if Shea was like best perimeter defender, and they're going down, and he's having to defend the opposing team's
I should
best
get out of
player
HQ,
or second best perimeter
Explore
player, something
Pandora.
like that. And I can understand why y'all believe that that value is being made up, but that's not Shea's responsibility. He's just not. Ex-gentleman, man, OG kind of stepped out. He did his thing. Sat down with Bill Simmons. He had a few things to get off his chest. He really wanted to talk his shit, man. Talk his shit, twin, about what happened between him and
Engine's gonna
Stephen A.
fall out of
I
this
thought
thing.
it was a very interesting topic. I wanted to hear what Mr. Kellerman had to say about his time with the one and only Stephen A.
How frustrating was it for you to sit on the sidelines, be talked about, but not be able to talk?
That doesn't bother me at all. I was very flattered that, because if you go off the air, you're not sure that the sports world would care, right? But people seem to care. I was like, oh, look at that. People are thinking about me. I was very flattered by it, to tell you the truth.
Sound like
And in
Mike
terms of the stuff
I'll
that
ask
went
him.
down behind the scenes, there were things said to me that it's not like anyone said to me, hey, this is top secret, don't repeat this. I think there's a general understanding that if someone's talking to you in private, it's a private conversation. And I wouldn't repeat that unless they said it was okay to repeat what they told me.
So Steve Nayer,
Shout out to Max for being a grown man, man.
in a relationship with, where you're doing a show together, I didn't love how he handled the aftermath of you leaving. Where it's basically like, I told you the show would be better. I just thought, because I think you're really talented. Now, you and I have known each other for a while. Whether it meshed as a show perfectly, I don't know the answer to that, but I just didn't think that was the right way to handle it.
If you're doing a debate show and you're a competitive person,
Yeah.
why would you want me as a partner? That's bad. You want to go 15 rounds every day with Mohammed Kellerman?
Talk your shit, twin. Talk your shit, dog.
That's just bad. It's embarrassing,
So you think that was part of it? You didn't want to put the time in? Or like just wanted a different type of show? What's your take
I
looking
don't
back
think
2
it
years
has to do
later?
with put the time in. It's a debate show. I have an idea. This is what I want to put on TV. I want to spar Bud Crawford every day for 15 rounds, and I want everyone to see it. Eventually, you're going to say, I don't want to do that.
You bring in some other people in the rotating cast. How do you,
That's one aspect of it. There are others. In other words, that's what I can tell you from my point of view.
yeah.
And I also think that if you make a calculation, that if you can be perceived as a solo act, really, that you can get paid at a certain level that you can't if you're not a solo act, then you'd like to be a solo act, or at least perceived that way.
Well, so like Mike and the Mad Dog are a good example of a show where it was the two of them together for a long, long time. And then all of a sudden, whatever happened. Mike got his own show and he stayed on top for.
Do you know who was supposed
6,
to be?
7
Do you know
years.
who we wanted to be in
Did you
Mad
get the
Dog's
call?
new position? Oh yeah, that was the plan. I was supposed to go over and work with Mike. Yeah.
Interesting, because I got the call. Who else got the call?
I don't know, but we had come to an understanding.
So you're gonna leave ESPN and do it?
I did leave ESPN.
But not to do a show with Mike. You did the show with Mike?
No.
So what happened?
I fit my interpretation of what happened, my analysis is, I think he realized at a certain point, they're not going to make me take a partner. Why should I take a partner? Because I'm beating the hell out of the guys across town by myself. I think when he thought they're going to make me take a partner,
No, which
then it was
one
like, okay, well,
better?
I'd like to be with that guy. And then when it was like, I don't need a partner.
At least it's a case with system.
Yeah, that's too bad though, because I actually think long term he did need a partner, because it's always good to have people to play off of.
Look, I don't need a partner either.
No.
But I like having one because I find conversations more interesting than just talking into the wind,
So
And
over the years you had Brian Kenny,
Yeah.
For a
Jim
while.
Lampley, Marcellus Wiley.
Marcellus for a
I've had
while.
great partners. And in fact, I've become good friends with the people I work with because Bill, you know better than anybody. We're getting away with it.
I do agree with what he is saying. It is much easier to get up here and bounce off of other people and kind of play into a role and a gimmick. Like it is. I ain't gonna lie, it is. It is much easier to do that. I think Colin Cowherd is probably the best person who just talks in the wind. he just says shit while he's like riffing, and it's like, man, that's a real talent. Even if whatever he's saying is nothing but a bunch of baloney, it's still a very, very, very real talent to do. But the reality is that even though I think a lot of people do that, I do think it's more interesting to just be able to bounce ideas off of somebody. And I think that to try to present yourself as you
I got the gnarliest
is
slasher collection
a
this side of
downfall to
ACA.
that, because not only is there expectations, and I think Stephen A. has started to already quickly fall into this trap. Stephen A. wants all of the praise for everything that he does there. He does a lot of, I'm not denying those things, but any time something bad happens, he's not willing to take that responsibility out of it.
Interesting, because Stephen A. was the one partner I've ever had over like years. Yeah. Where I didn't feel like a relationship was really forming. And I like to go to work and you know.
You could feel a little bit watching it. And it was hard to tell how much of it was theater and how much of it was like, oh, these guys just don't get along in the same way, or
whatever you feel about who you're working with and what the situation is, to me, a cardinal sin is betraying that on the air. You should always be thinking about making the show entertaining, rather than be undermined, you know?
Is that a fun show to do? Like, do you like doing, what was it, 2 hours a day of just 5 days a week of having to react and just be like prisoner of the moment stuff?
The issue with that show is this. What is a hot take? A hot take is a counterintuitive conclusion that on TV you're going to just state your conclusion. You do analysis about a subject, you come to a conclusion that's counterintuitive. So when you say it, people will be like, what are you talking about? Give me 90 seconds, I'll explain it to you. Oh, at least he has a point of view. If there are 12 topics a day, and you have 12 hot takes on those topics, because by and large, there's a consensus about sports. This guy's good, this guy's not as good, whatever it is. This team is in the right direction, the wrong direction, whatever it is. The consensus is usually correct, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, some small percentage of the time, aha. In fact, what everyone thinks is not true. If you have a counterintuitive conclusion about every topic in sports every day, you are insane. What?
And that is without a doubt true. And that's the reason why hot take culture is dying. Because the reality is that you have dumb niggas like Skip Bayless running around just saying whatever he wanted to say, when it was really hard to believe that somehow Skip Bayless's conclusions were so far from everybody else so often. You have a long conclusion here and there, or a different conclusion here and there, understandably so. But it's hard to believe that you can have one every single day on 8 different subject matters, 5 days a week, and then we're going to redo it over and over and over. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. My hot take, Stockton's overrated. But, like, of all point guards, that's effectively my only hot take. Like, it'd be ridiculous if I came out there and I said, you know who's actually the best point guard of all time? Derek Fisher. Like if I said some shit like that, you would all be like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? And at some point you would think, question, like, what are you doing? And I do think that everyone isn't Skip Bayless. I guess maybe to an extent the joy of Skip Bayless is that he was so unconscious with the dumb shit that he would say that it would just yield so many different things over and over and over again. And so then that would then result into a bunch of moments throughout the course of his career with ESPN. But the truth of the matter is everybody can't do that, and nor should everyone do that. Here and there you may be right, but like there's just no way that you can keep coming up with crazy opinions. And then because how unconscious he was, and especially because they were doing it at a point in time where social media didn't take off, unfortunately you had some knuckleheads who believed the things in which he said. Fast forward to where we are now, especially over the past 5 years in the NBA space, people have been trying to get off hot takes, and the problem is that some of these people really don't believe the things that they say. They know they just have to say something so they can get some shit off on the airwaves. And then on the flip side, as they're saying that, when they're wrong, they're getting torn apart. Torn apart. We've done this before, but just quickly. You say the Clippers, well, Kawhi and PG, they're the next Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. They blow a 3-1 lead while the man that you claim was only in LA for Hollywood goes on to win a championship. That's your hot take, and you're going to hear about it. The next year, if you sit here and say Chris Paul's not a winner and Run and Dunk Man can't do nothing, and those are the two teams that make it to the finals, and Run and Dunk Man wins, you're going to hear about it. If you do nothing more but sit in front of a camera and do this when the Warriors, you think that they're going to win, and Nick Wright goes on this soliloquy about how they're not going to do da-da-da-da, and then they go on to win, you're going to hear about it. If you say that Jimmy Butler, Devin Booker, and a whole bunch of other people are over Nikola Jokic, and Jokic is the worst MVP of all time, you're going to hear about it when he wins a championship. And I want everybody to understand, there is a reason why those hot takes aren't flying off like they did before. It's because we're now in a new space. And it's also the reason why you nor me gives a fuck about what Skip Bayless has to say in 2025. Because the audience, remember, they're much more intelligent now than they were 15 years ago. We know that it's nothing but a show. It's entertainment. So when Stephen A gets up and he's talking about how much he knows about the sport, we all know you don't. And it's not that much of a surprise. As someone who is, and I believe Stephen A is a bit overworked, you're stretching yourself so thin that you don't really know much about what you're talking about anymore.
There was a lot of pressure on that show. Like Stephen A's opinion will not diverge into counterintuitive almost ever.
So
his
makes
big
things
take
right.
will be, but
He always does.
theatrically is Steph Curry is the greatest shooter that God ever created. Does not know this. Yeah, everyone knows this. A counterintuitive take would be, actually, you know who the best shooter on the Warriors is? It's Klay Thompson. Because when I'm making this up, I don't believe this. I thought it was Steph. But because when you say greatest, you have to talk about high leverage moments too. And I have more confidence in Klay hitting a high leverage moment three than I do
Take your course, nigga.
something like that.
I'll take that.
It's hard for me to believe
I hope I have something you
that
like.
many other people who on
Can't
that show
afford
were
it.
just making things up because how quickly he was able to put together that bullshit.
I hope I
That
have
right
something
there
you like.
sounded as if like you were already going through the motion of faking a take. That literally sounded like. It sounded like you were already prepared to go down this path of this bullshit take.
Come back if you
already
need
had
more.
it set. You already had it set. And I know it's TV. I get it. But nigga, you sound like a porn star.
Have you seen Ruan?
Right.
I am worried about her.
You already had it ready to go, bro. You had it ready to go. You had it ready to go, bro. You had it there.
Have a
And
look
Stephen
there.
A sitting there right, yeah, That's all Stephen A.
Tut.
That's it.
Well-
Niggas who have sex knows nobody gonna be doing all that theatrical shit. Nobody. Niggas who have sex knows, man, we not having sex for 45 fucking minutes. We know. But because we gotta do some filler, because we gotta really get the juices going, you need to sell it, I'll sell it, and we can just go ahead and wrap it up. That's
Fuck.
all that was. That nigga spit out a fake take like that. Like that.
That will never happen. So there was pressure on that show for me to keep digging
Here's a great
until
one.
you hear something you think is crazy.
This is the perfect example of
Wow,
what
I
you just
know.
said. Jalen Brunson is the best Nick of all time.
There you go. Do you believe that?
No,
Okay, then you can't say that.
it's arguable.
But you have to keep digging until you find the thing that Bill Simmons thinks is
But I'm
actually
saying
true.
on those shows,
Yeah.
if I say that in a
Right.
production meeting, they're like,
They'll
"That's
go-
amazing.
they'll go
That's
nuts, but-
segment 2. Let's
But
do
you
it."
should not say the thing you don't believe.
Max, come on, bro. We know y'all was saying shit that y'all didn't believe. Max, come on. Nigga, come on. We're not dumb. We know that you were saying shit that you did not believe. You said you wanted Iguodala. We know you didn't believe that, Max. We know. Let's be serious.
You know, you should stick with that. And that's so the difficulty with me on that show was it was a lot of work to keep digging until I said the thing that I believed that would also get a reaction.
But on top of it, they're telling you Cowboys, Lakers, Knicks, Yankees, like it's all the big teams.
For good reason.
Over and over. That's the red meat.
You fish where the fish are.
Like right now, the Cowboys have a little run. It's perfect because it's actually reasonable to talk about that. I remember when I was doing Countdown, they're trying to make us lead with the Lakers all the time because that's coming from Bristol. Of course, lead with the Lakers. And it's like, well, can we lead with Memphis? They just traded Rudy Gay and the team's better. Like,
I would
it's
tell
a really
you no.
interesting first
Do
half.
not leave
They're like, no,
Memphis.
talk about Kobe, Kenny Meg, how high can they get? And then we'd have to do that second again, of course. And that's kind of the ESPN Red Meat philosophy.
By the way, first thing I said on First Take that drove everyone nuts was Tom Brady's going to fall off a cliff. Right?
I remember that. That made me angry.
Yeah, and I said, well, the part that I didn't like, and I apologized about it the next day, and they didn't like it on the show when I apologized, was I said he's going to be a bum in short order. But I was just being I was talking the way you talk in a bar.
Right.
Could be Ethan.
really mean it. I just meant,
So you really didn't mean it? Well, you just sat there and said bro, this nigga's telling on himself. What? 5 minutes later? Are we serious? He literally just said, I didn't really mean it. So you don't believe this shit?
Your ego is beautiful.
if you come to
My
that
son,
counterintuitive conclusion,
but
you're
no
wrong,
wind is too strong.
and
to
99
challenge
people
to
think
win.
you're wrong, you should
We hunt
absolutely
hard,
double check to
hard.
make sure that you believe what you think you believe.
Are you here
Because
to
the chances
admire
are
us?
you're wrong and
I
they're
would
right.
not fault you
But
for that.
sometimes you check and you check and you
No,
check and you go, no, in fact, I'm right
I'm looking
and they're
for
wrong.
Itu.
And that's great.
My
Then you
name
can-
has reached other clans,
However,
even lost one.
I heard
Let me guess, Nafika sent you.
the Iguodala team. You tried to?
She wants me
Upon a
to
time,
teach.
famously,
Boring, I say.
because
To
it
be
became a
safe
meme.
at home,
Oh, this is
telling
what
the
it
The
is.
little
universe
ones
on the
of
line.
us,
Yeah,
of
I want
adventure.
Iguodala, right?
They would
The
not
point I was
understand.
making was
Nafika
Steph
did
Curry,
say you
I
were
had
hunting
seen
stern
in
beasts.
Game 7. I was
Is
there.
that what you are
On
after?
my own dime, I just
Stern
wanted to
beasts
see
are
as a
not so
fan,
easy to
right? I
kill.
wanted to be able to.
I managed to track one
And-
already.
Is that
They
so?
had the greatest half-court
And did you
offense in
cause
history
the
of
poor
basketball.
creature much
They had 73 wins. They were about to be declared the greatest basketball team of all time. It was 5 minutes left in the fourth
This is
quarter
one of your moments
of
that you were
Game
talking about.
7
Yeah.
at home. They did not score another point, and you are the point guard and the best player on the team. He's carelessly throwing behind the back passes out of bounds. He's scared to shoot. When he does shoot, he's not hitting. I can't say scared. I don't know what's going on in his heart, but that's what it appeared. And the bottom line is that offense didn't score a single point the rest of the way and lost Game 7 at home. That, to me, is fate of the universe on the line, right? So that's what I meant. A guy like Iguodala, open shot, not getting his own shot. I had confidence Iggy, if he has the shot, he's going to take
Already
it
got
and
it.
nail it.
Well, you know what's so crazy? Two things. A, not only was Steph hurt in that game, but B, you are changing the dynamics of the type of shots that both of them are taking. You didn't see Curry make a shot. Not only because he's hurt, but also he's getting covered like any other, like more than any other player in the
Are
NBA.
you trying to make
Well,
your life
Iguodala is
difficult?
getting a wide open shot. It is
Come.
much easier to make a wide open shot than to try to pull off the shots that Curry
Not
was trying
bad.
to pull off.
At
So I
least
don't know
you're
what the fuck
thankful.
we're talking about. I don't know what we're talking about. At the end of the day, I feel like what you said about Stephen A. has a lot of validation behind it. I think there's a lot of validity behind the idea that Stephen A. is just, he's someone who just reacts. He's not someone who provides a lot of hot takes, who doesn't have nuanced dialogue. He has a very wide vocabulary. He's boisterous. He's bombastic. He is flamboyant. He is someone who knows how to deliver very common sense ideology to you. That is who Stephen A. Smith is. And then Stephen A., because how flamboyant he is with his reactions, is something that we all could potentially relate to when someone says something that is ridiculous. And that right there is the dynamic of who Stephen A. is. Since Skip and really the first half of Max no longer exists, and all it was is a bunch of second half of Max Kellerman who gave a lot of nuanced takes, even if they were crazy, and he had no counterpoint to it because he was saying things that were just factually incorrect. And then when JJ got there, he was much worse because there's things in which he would say that JJ could immediately respond to and say, no, what you're saying is just dumb. And what's even worse, that JJ started to become the person who was making the over-the-top, flamboyant reactions. Are you serious? Like, and then JJ would then give that reaction and do nothing but spit facts. And Stephen A., because he was out of his depth, he wasn't debating with Skip Bayless with a bunch of hot takes and buzzwords. He was actually debating with someone who would provide the facts. Then at that point, he was like, oh, this is no longer entertaining because it just looks like a bloodbath
some
every
meat
single
from my
time I
hunt.
turn on. Now, to me, that might have been
Nafika said you.
every now and then to watch
All on
JJ
mystery
beat
and
Stephen A.
bother.
Smith across the head. But no.
She said
And
you're the
my people opinion, I
And honestly,
this
I
version of
suppose
First Take
that
is
is
actually less
come.
enjoyable. I don't
Is there
find
something
You
wrong
just
with your
said that
home?
Jimmy Butler was a perimeter shooter.
Etua
And I
said
love
it
Jimmy Butler to
suffers.
death. I really do. He's one of my favorite players in the league. One of my favorite teammates ever had. But I think that's the first time I've ever heard
Come to
describe
that
Jimmy
yourself.
Butler as a perimeter shooter.
I think he can shoot perimeter shots. Hold on, wait a minute. Jimmy, this is a 17-minute
Is there
video
something
of
wrong with
JJ
your
Reddick just taking this nigga to town. And
Abdullah said it
no one in their
suffers.
right mind would sit there and say that Jimmy Butler is a perimeter
We have
shooter.
provided
His response, I think he
since
can
their
hit
flowers
perimeter
rose.
shots. What?
Their numbers between men. Batman would prefer Edward to focus all her energies on them. But I think that child does her best. Now pay attention. Gatna should see you still have some nuts. And I should like to see it myself.
Up Jimmy's numbers from the mid-range, I would, but Giannis shot over 42% from the mid-range this year,
How did
which
they
is well
win
above
this
league
again?
average. Oh my God. And Jimmy shot in the 20s and the threes, or three for the last.
First of all, Jimmy Butler missed some time during the season. Let's take that into consideration. Oh my God! And so that's shit I'm talking about. That shit is crazy. That right there is what First Take was for a good year or two. It was nothing but Bill being given to Stephen A. And you started to realize, oh, this is not this ain't but this is just bad. Stephen A needs to be thanking LeBron every day of his life that JJ is out of media. Because that right there is crazy.
We're talking about First Take now. And he took it someplace. That all I want to say is, are you really sure you want to go
there it
there?
is, right there.
See, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. What? Are you sure you want to go there? Because I'm not unless you take me there.
Wait a minute.
I don't understand how, and even when Max said that, I don't think nobody really took him serious. Like he's calling himself Muhammad Ali. Like I don't think he's very sincerely believe that he is like what are we doing, bro? At the end of the day, all he is saying is in the debate space, you were getting beat damn near every single day, and at some point, you getting beat and embarrassed the way you did got tiresome. I don't think that's the reason why y'all departed. I do think that the way the show was set up, it was set up for someone to come through with hyperbolic takes,
Ooh.
very similar to
Now show Gatna how
Skip.
you have mixed
And if
your
you cannot reach that
power
degree of
just
theatrics,
as your
then
people
of
want.
course it's not going to work because that is the audience that you all have cultivated over the span of how many years Skip was there. But to effectively view a potential reason to why you all departed,
Do
being
not be
solely,
afraid.
I'm just a better debater
Bar
than
is
you. Again,
worse than his life.
Stephen A. Maybe
I
you
would
don't
follow
understand
short.
something. Brother, he was a better debater than you. He was better at it. He was better at it than you. He provided more nuances than you, more information than you. And then after JJ came along, it became even more disturbing, especially the way in which JJ. See, the problem is Max was a bit more theatrical and certainly had the details and information. Max had a really great cadence by how he was delivering things. Skip is peak level theatrics. He has the cadence, but he has more motion and range, and the way he holds himself is definitely of one that's trying to attack. In both of those
Are you
things,
really saddened too?
you all can play off each other with the theatrics. The problem, however, when it came to Max, after he went on his soliloquy that was very profound at times, coming to you was it was bad. The point I'm making is, when JJ
Poor
came
creatures
along,
of
there really
forest
was
walk
no
and
more
walk,
theatrics. It
afraid
was
nothing.
a lot of condescending tones. It was a lot of, it just sounded like you're saying something that's dumb and unintelligent, so let me inform you. How dare you say something that ignorantly incorrect, so let me tell you why you're wrong. That's how JJ approached it. In my opinion, that was around the low point for Stephen A. in terms of a debater.
What clan are
Because
you?
at that point, you were not only getting out-debated by Max, but then JJ came along and made it very clear to the world, not only were you losing
Try
it,
to
but
mix the
also
nectar.
your credibility should be
A
shot
touch
because
of salt.
look at how little you actually know. Everybody else would go back and forth, and someone would say something crazy, and unless it was just outrageous, no one would really even check it. The fact
Efika has had her way.
JJ would fact check you in real
Now
time.
you look more like
You
the
call
silent
Jimmy
who
Butler
we
a
remember.
perimeter shooter, you would get checked
The
in
loss
real
of your
time,
people
because
pains
that would be
us.
very silly and
We
ill
value
on both
their
sides.
counsel,
So yes, you
but
got
we know you are not
by
here
both
to
Max
offer
and
their
JJ.
wisdom.
Now,
The Sky
to
People.
backtrack,
The Resistance fights them, but they can't do it alone.
This is why you have come.
And yes,
You stand in the heart of our
I did
home.
not want to do a debate.
Its
show.
warm embrace,
What I keep trying
even
to
your
Under no circumstances.
And you ask me to
do I
bring war
dislike
here?
or hate this team. This ain't some
They bring war with them.
Stephen A.
Please.
and Michelle Beadle
We
thing
are
going
on ahead, do
where
not
she's
seek
coming at me
conflict.
like that.
And yet
know,
you
me
goad
knowing
us,
that,
desperate for a
You know,
fight.
the fat bastard. You know, I don't.
A little.
And it's not that.
I wasn't.
Outside.
I got news for most of you. Max Kellerman is one of the kindest dudes you'd ever want to meet. He's actually a very nice guy. And Sports Center, boxing, you know, whatever. No problem. If Max Kellerman,
I gotta
I think
figure
he
out
has a
the fuck to get
podcast
up,
with
man.
Rich Paul coming out, if I remember correctly, or whatever. But if Max Kellerman wanted me to come on the show, I'd have to. If Max Kellerman needed a favor and he picked up the phone to call me, no problem. That has nothing to do with wanting to work with somebody on a debate show. We want to go there, let's go there. Max Kellerman was succeeding Skip Bayless. Max Kellerman's first day on the job, he said, Tom Brady is a bum, he's gonna fall off a cliff, and the next day he apologized. That's no crime. There's nothing wrong with it in the grand scheme of things. A matter of fact, decent
You're
thing
not
to
the
do,
only visitor
because
among
he might
the
have felt his
Arana.
comments were a bit extreme.
Like you,
We've all
she is
been
a
there,
daddy.
me too. But there was an audience that was accustomed to Skip Bayless being diametrically different for a decade.
What would you like?
And when Max came on the show,
Shit, can't afford
the
nothing, girl.
top ratings were handed to us
May the
because
winds
of what
treat you
Skip
well.
and I were doing. So the audience has an expectation for that show. That show was not Get Up. That show was not PTI. That show was.
I agree. I basically agree with what he's saying. Again, I don't think that Max is probably the best fit for following Skip Bayless. But to be fair to Max, no one really is. And it's changed so much since Skip
The
has
king
been
nor
there
our restless.
that I believe that you
The
believe as well.
rainforest
That's
was
the reason
theirs
why the
once.
dynamic of the
The
show
sky
is
people drove them out.
I
I'm
don't
sure
think
is
that-
this
at
nest
least
all
I
that
hope
remains?
people are not
Yes.
assuming that y'all don't
And with
like
so
each other.
many
Like, I
king
don't-
nor here.
I don't know either.
Our
I'm
home
not
free
necessarily
weekends.
joking, like, you don't know. But at the end of the day, when you
See?
are unable to
How the
find
queen
a
cares
place
for them.
that was Skip
Protects them.
Bayless, your response
She is born
was
knowing
to
what to do.
present yourself like a solo
How to
act, is the way in which
She
Max
knows
did.
where she
And then
belongs.
bring in a multitude
My
of
mother
different
always said,
people,
steady
some
heart,
ex-players,
see
other
steady
pundits,
wings.
people who share their opinions.
They were always
Even
at
to this
ease
day,
with
it
her.
doesn't really feel like a
I find her here
debate
done,
show as much
tending
as it
to them,
was back when Skip was there.
singing
So
to
you
them.
have found a different lane
Her love
for
was
First
enough.
Take, that even though y'all may share hot takes, and even though y'all may have opinions
It's
that
all right.
differ, it's
They
still
won't
in a
hurt.
very different tone
King
than
Law are
where it
peaceful
was
by
with
nature,
Skip. And I think most
but
people
they are not
were
docile
asking or trying
when
to
facing
figure
a
out,
threat.
hey, if
Destiny
we were able
sharp,
to find a way
and
to
they
make it
swarm
work
as one.
with all these people, why not try to find a way for it to work with Max involved in that dynamic as well?
It's not around the
There is a
horn. That show
hunting
was
camp
not
near the
Sports
forest
Center.
cliffs.
That
The Philo
show
is likely to start her
came
search
with
for
an
E2 there.
expectation. Anybody that's in front of the camera has
Have I
an
met you
obligation
before?
to be compelled to be pulled towards what the audience wants, because that's how you get ratings. Now I know Marcellus Wiley has his opinions, and we're gonna hear them in just a second. And after we finish hearing from him, I'm going to show you why evidently that's something he didn't pay attention to either. Play what Marcellus Wiley had to say in response to hearing Max say what he said about me.
It sounds as if like you're now raging at Max because something that someone else said. And Max literally said he felt like that was one of the problems, which I think is a very fair assessment, especially as someone who was competitive. But he didn't say that was the only problem.
It's fair.
Oh, wow! Wow! I am actually surprised at how mature Stephen A. Smith is right now. Wow. I ain't gonna lie, so far, it seems like the headlines are a lot of rage bait to what he said. I'll be honest with you, Stephen A. Smith has not said anything really that crazy so far. We're 11 minutes in, by halfway. He just gets loud for no rhyme or reason, but I'm not really that, so far, what he's saying is not crazy.
It's no all eyes on me, Tupac joint, all of this other stuff. No, it's that we were the #1 rated show. And people watched us every morning. And there was an audience out there demanding a change. And would you have preferred that I run and hit and not said anything and not tell you where I stand, Marcellus Wiley? Would you have preferred that I thought you were supposed to be Mr. Truth Teller? Was I supposed to hide? Didn't I make that call? Didn't I ask for the change? Am I supposed to act like I did? Am I supposed to sit up there and pull a hokey doke and be all disingenuous and acting like, oh, that had nothing to do with me? That's weak, bro. That's not how I felt. I was straight up about it. I thought you respected that. Marcellus. So even though what you're saying that you didn't like and what Bill Simmons didn't like was legitimate, I'm talking to two people, about two people, meaning Marcellus Wiley and Bill Simmons, that claim to be honest and straight up and down about who they are and where they're coming from and what are you knocking me for? The fact that I was? That's how I felt?
Okay, to be fair, I hear what he's saying. I think the reason why people were upset and it rubbed him the wrong way is just because the way he delivered it. Like the way, what you're saying right now about Max Kellerman being one of the kindest people that someone would ever want to meet, and you're while being critical of the rating, still giving Max his flowers. I personally, I don't remember or recall that being a part of the discussion, but I think this is also fair. I think this is also fair. Everybody wants honesty. Everybody wants people to be upfront. Everybody wants the truth. And Stephen A. Smith, to be fair to him, good or bad or indifferent, he's giving you the truth. So it's fair to me.
Let me get back to Max Kellerman, but only before I say this last part. I'm only addressing what Marcellus and Bill Simmons had to say, whether it's with their question or their perspective. Marcellus Wiley, you say you know how I feel. No, you don't. You have no clue. Number one, because you never asked. Number two, because I ain't you and you ain't me. And number three, because it was a radio show. There was no mandate or obligation that you had to have a diametrically opposed position from Max as your counterpart doing radio, bro. If you want to talk to people about the industry, talk to them about the industry. You had a radio show. You did not have a debate show. So the obligations and the responsibilities that came along with it are entirely different. It doesn't mean you make up or fabricate a position or anything like that. You want to be real and authentic as you possibly can be. But if you agree with one another doing radio, so be it. If you agree with one another doing a debate show, it's not a debate show. So the responsibilities, the onus, the obligations that come with what me and Max were doing were entirely different than what y'all were doing. So how would you understand? You don't. Once again, you're speculating. You're swearing.
Those are some bars. I can't hold you, Chad. I can't hold you. I ain't gonna lie. That's a lot of bar right there. That's a bar.
Up and down, you got facts, but you don't. You have a perspective from one side. See, what I do when I talk about folks is I ask both sides. And I give both perspectives. And then I come to you with my conclusion. I'm not mad at myself. I'm not disrespecting you, bro. I'm just simply saying my point is, you didn't ask me. Not one time. Now let me get to Muhammad Kelly. Let's call him that. Muhammad Kelly.
I hope he doesn't take this that serious.
Debating Crawford every day, all of this other stuff.
Okay. Hopefully you don't take it that serious.
I brought up the fact that you said Tom Brady in the clip. Then you turned around and apologized the next day because it was the first of many equivocations. If somebody wants to go out and think that I have a speck of fear of debating anyone, anytime, any place, fine, go ahead and believe it. If you want to ignore what you saw over the airways for 5 years when I was on the air sitting across from him, fine. What you're missing is, again, a debate. It was a debate show. It's nothing personal. This is not 2009, ladies and gentlemen, when I got fired. I didn't get my contract renewed. We keep forgetting. Since y'all love Max Kellerman so much and people felt like, oh my God, what's going to happen to him? You keep forgetting that when he departed from First Take, he got not one or two shows. He had a radio show in the morning immediately. And he also had an afternoon show on ESPN. That was his own show. He still kept his boxing show. And I can assure you there was no pay cut. I got fired. Just although that was a decade ago.
What's that to do with anything?
If I thought,
What does this have to do with anything?
what's that Max Kellerman would have been fired or unemployed or whatever, I never would have made the suggestion
The fuck?
that we needed to part ways because I want that brother to continue to get a check. Because he is a nice guy. He's not a bad person at all. He's smart. Everything Marcellus said about him being a genius is absolutely correct. Look, Max Kellerman, next level. Next level genius, no doubt. That still has nothing to do with debating. Debating is about point, counterpoint. And the audience is watching. Do I need to bring up the names of the inordinate amount of people that will come on the air and say, Max, what are you saying? Max, what is your position? Tell us what you feel. It's all there. We're talking about a debate show. See, people get so caught up emotionally because they want to be protective of the individual because they're such a nice, good, decent person in their eyes that you're forgetting the point. We weren't talking about a guy being unemployed. We weren't talking about a guy losing his job. We weren't talking about a guy not getting his check anymore. We weren't talking about any of those things or somebody that was going to depart from the industry. What we were talking about was one element of all the things that he was doing. The debate show did not work in the end with yours truly.
So what Stephen A. Smith is saying, I hear him. Because I don't necessarily think that Max is that great of a debater. But then this thing goes into the other threshold of what Max said. And I wonder if he's actually going to attempt to defend what Max was accusing his part of the debate show was. Which definitely comes across as something that has some legs to it. Which was, maybe Max was unable to land his point on some of his arguments through the debate show because he was the only one who was truly coming up with hot takes.
Either or any of these people who replaced or came, should say place, came after Max Kellerman. You're Muhammad Kellerman. What does that make Michael up? Because he arrived after Max departed. How about Shannon Sharp? 3-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer as well. He arrived after Max Kellerman.
What the fuck does this have to do? Man, Stephen A, bro. Bro. Max clearly said that out of a place of competitive nature. Not saying that he is just inherently better than him. He just believes that he is the best debater. He believes that he is better than everybody else that you brought onto debate because it's easier for you to win those debates. That's all he said. That's what he mean. And as a sidebar, he should believe those things. That's why Skip Bayless probably believes that.
What's gonna make me go
That's
for
why
that?
you believe it also. That's why you laughed at it earlier. But also, I'm gonna keep it a being with you. None of these people really are that great at debating. Shannon Sharp is theatrics. Michael Irvin, theatrics. Ryan Clark, Jeff Saturday. I think Ryan Clark does slightly better debating. Cam Newton, no. Marcus Spears, no. A lot of these people. Some of these people are just analysts and reporters. These are not debaters, man. What are you talking about?
That's who I debate.
Damn, I need to get.
Don't debate them. Ah, man.
And that's just during football season. I didn't even bring up Radio Hall of Famer Christopher Mad Dog Russo.
And he's also a terrible debater. Bro, Matt Frick is a terrible debater. Stephen A. actually doesn't even comprehend the point. That's the point. If you think that going up against Mad Dog Russo is more difficult or just as difficult as JJ Redick or Max, he's not. You're proving the point. You are actually proving the point. Mad Dog Russo,
who's been doing radio for 40 plus years and has forgotten more sports history
Y'all little
than most of us
motherfuckers
know,
up.
including Max. But I'm
Little boo, stay cool.
it's uncomfortable. I can understand how Stephen A. would feel. Really? Really? Sure about that? Basketball season.
and JJ is the only one on this list.
I saw a
that
storm
made
glider
this.
fall
Also,
into the
as a
forest.
sidebar, let's
So-
look at these names.
Give me that
Anytime
quest.
I am sure the rain
I
was
saw a
not
storm
blowing
glider
nosing
fall
into
into
the
the
business.
forest.
But
you
you
know
know
what
what
I'm
the sky
supposed to
people
When
will.
Monica McNutt and really anybody who came up
That
here
free shit up.
debating you about WNBA, nigga, you looked uncomfortable. When JJ Redick was debating you about basketball, brother, you looked uncomfortable. When Jay Wills was debating you about the Kyrie Irving thing, you looked so uncomfortable you had to eventually acknowledge that you were wrong. When Tim Molecular corrects you, you look uncomfortable. But even the dynamic for a lot of these people is not that of one that is constant debate. It's just not. Y'all do way more reporting now than actually debating. That's just it. I'm also sure I agree with the dynamic of what
Don't
he
even say
said,
it
and I agree that
for what the
Marcellus Wiley probably. Marcellus Wiley also isn't the best at a debate show. And someone who does debates, I agree with what Stephen A. is saying. Like there is a way in which you have to lay down arguments, counterpoints, and also there has to be a sprinkle of entertainment with that as well. The theatrics have to be there also. So all those things are true, and I do believe that when it's Skip Bayless, that is a very, very hard threshold to follow. But also, I also just thoroughly believe that does not change the fact that Max, I do believe when y'all were debating, Max was beating your backside for a lot of aspects. So was James Harden, and I don't think that was necessarily the reason why you all departed. But I do think that there was at least a unified front from a lot of people who were watching the show back then. That Max was winning a lot of those debates.
Those big leaves look kind of flimsy.
Stephen A. stretches
Only one way to
himself
find
thin. And
out.
I've had to learn this myself, and I'm not saying I'm in the same department as Stephen A. in terms of reach and impact. But what I have learned is that there's only so much that you can really stretch yourself thin before you start saying things and coming across as uninformed. And I'd rather be right and properly informed on things rather than me trying to stretch myself as thin as possible just so I can have a take. And to be completely transparent with you all, sometimes I felt like that when we were doing and playback, and I was on Player's Choice, and I was also trying to come up with ideas for Legend of Winning. There's only so many things in which I can be properly informed on before I'm saying things that I am not properly aware of. And that degree of responsibility came with something as frivolous as basketball. But when you do this thing that you're doing with running for any form of political stature, it concerns me because I know, based on discussions in which I've seen Stephen A. participate in for years now, I know that you are willing to have an opinion and thought on something that you are not properly researched on. You do that shit when you're talking about Damian Lillard shooting threes. It's still cringe, but there's not much at stake. You start doing that shit with people's livelihoods, you have a problem. But at the end of the day, I think it took it way too serious. It really wasn't that big. It really was not that big. Like, at all. Now, is how fucking lazy the space has become. Not just because Pablo Torre actually went out of his way to do due diligence and do a lot of research, which is real journalism, by the way. Some of these people actually have
I hurt my foot on a rock today.
the same,
course
if not more resources,
It's almost time to prepare food, and we have not yet
that
got
Pablo
anything.
has, will refuse to do it because they're nothing more than lazy
Hello,
acts.
friend.
But it's so the people who have now responded to this, because we live in this new age where everything has to be immediate reaction. Instead of you actually taking the time out to listen to what he said, people don't even know what they may be agreeing to. And as
Sneaky
Jennifer just alluded
motherfucker.
to, and as someone who has watched the podcast from start to finish, and then went to the article to cross-reference some of the things that were being accused of. Trust me when I say these are not things that you should just blindly agree to. It's not. We live in enough. Yeah, I got to lose it. We have a situation on our hands to where, yes, in our space, it's certainly
Pandora.
It's a very cute situation that will have some very steep we have, but I want people to understand, this is simply a reference to something that has already gotten the government involved. This is fraud to the extent
I thought it was
that
3 of them down there.
people have like this is like a real live investigation. So when I hear Stephen A. Smith make pivots to his lame ass, tired ass bigger picture here is fraud. Fraud to hundreds of millions of dollars. Like real fraud. I clicked on Player's Choice video, the first 2 minutes, regardless of how Ox may feel about it. This nigga is running his mouth yapping about how it's elementary research. Nigga, shut the fuck up. Some of you niggas are close to sweeping under the rug. Some real shit. This is some real shit. It's so serious that if you actually
Looks like the
watch
place.
episode, Pablo had to make sure he separated himself from the athletic.
But what else?
To not
Maybe
make
not
the
now.
lie of
I wonder
for
if-
anything that he was about to say throughout the remaining of that podcast.
Doesn't look right.
That's how serious.
Doesn't look right.
Y'all need to shut the fuck
And not be fought with RDA. Not be skills were winning. But then their bow broke. Had to flee.
Please shut the fuck up. Please. Please.
That's not it.
You niggas is co-signing shit.
An econ
Y'all
fought
have
in this
no
cave.
idea
Its headpiece snapped in the struggle.
what the fuck
Clawed its way out.
are talking about. None. With that being said, for those who are unaware of what is happening with this transplant,
I wonder if...
Pablo Torre, I'm gonna get straight into this. Pablo Torre, who is a journalist. First of all, go watch the video. Pablo Torre made an expose after doing months of research of trying to
E2 stopped
understand
here. Someone or
some
something
very
interrupted him before he could
interesting
eat.
pieces to a puzzle that has yet
E2 landed with his econ zombie. They fought the RDA.
when the relationship
They got trapped in the cave but escaped up there. Is that econ blood?
Los Angeles.
A scent trail to follow.
In doing so, this is the video right here. Make sure y'all go watch it. Please go watch it. Please, 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 please. Please, please, please.
RDA. I better hurry.
In the pursuit of doing so, what he uncovered is that there was a company named Aspiration, that came to Bond trying to be a representation, a sponsor of the Clippers, especially when they moved into it. Through doing so, Balmer and the company, Aspiration, got together, we were, doing some business.
Y'all telling me to go bed.
And also, Aspiration had
The fuck?
a bunch of other celebrities that were endorsing them as well. Some of which you all are very familiar with. Robert Downey Jr., DiCaprio, Drake. But out of all of these big names, the one that was getting paid the most wasn't Drake. Was it Robert Downey Jr.? No. It was Kawhi Leonard. In the report, Kawhi was getting paid so much money that he was getting paid more than everyone else combined, times 3 to 4 times over. That's how much he was getting paid.
God damn it.
Now, we then have to ask
Up, up.
if we were getting paid that much money, which is between $28 million, $7 million of those every year over the course of a year. If you're going to get paid that much money, what happened? And anyone who's missed anything, some of this stuff will upload it, but I will have a much more defined and outlined version of this video on mobile, because it definitely will be on mobile. But effectively, Kawhi Leonard was getting paid $28 million. This agreement came just months after his extension was signed in 2021. fabulous things he did later on as well. However, the correlation
Damn, which way was I going?
Steve
Fuck.
Ballmer, the Clippers, the company aspiration of Kawhi,
I see.
is that there is a paper
Your spirit
that
goes to
potentially
AWA,
leads itself
and your
right
body
to
stays to become part of the people.
Steve Ballmer.
Thank you for these gifts.
Now, why exactly are people coming to this conclusion? Because some of the evidence is right there. And the reason why a lot of this information is publicly available is because, again, Aspiration has now filed for bankruptcy. The owner has already been found guilty for fraud of the tune of like $200 million.
Y'all motherfuckers
Well, you may
hunting
be
me.
asking how it's happening. Well, first, you may be wondering what were these commitments that you needed to make. Kawhi was obligated to just do a handful. 50 autographs, make a post, public appearances. In his contract, it actually says
Why is it
some of
telling me
these
to go
requirements
back?
are so trivial that he could get away with just making a comment, retweet it, or liking something on some
Fuck.
pages. That's how simple it is. However, he was no longer obligated to do said things if it didn't fit
All right, bro.
into his
Alright, dog.
a baby's terminology that was never outlined in the contract. That if you're handing over
So
something,
how in the
the
hell?
most money in the company by far, you would believe that some of these requirements are very, very strict. But no, they were some of the loosest obligations. It is, again, the same here. Drake, Robert Downey Jr., his head coach at the time, Doc Rivers, as well, was a part of Aspiration. By far, the loosest. And yet, still did not have to commit to that. If he believed that the company did not fit his beliefs. Now you then would ask, well, if it fit his beliefs and he didn't have an obligation for that, would the contract? No. But there was one thing that would have so obvious. The only one thing that would have voided the contract or prevented him from making this money, not him going to jail, not him doing something illegal, getting arrested, any type of moral clause. No. The only thing that prevented him from getting his money that would have voided the contract
They dead?
was if he no longer played for the Clippers. That is it. To get even more in detail with him, CC asked me a very interesting question about retirement. Here's the thing. Everything. They made sure they wrote in the contracts that the only way that he would not get his money
Thank you
if
for
he
these
was
gifts.
working for the team. That means even if he was paid from the organization, meaning that Kawhi, let's say he retired, it was too much on his body, he decided he wanted to retire, but still getting paid for him technically. Well, maybe things didn't work out, they bought out his contract, he was still getting paid from the Clippers. That would actually trigger the contract. They wrote that, the actual fucking contract. They made sure they wrote that in the contract. They were very specific. What his beliefs were, not specific, never out. But they made sure they got the details that
Lost the scent.
if you're not sure, to somewhere else.
Thank you for these gifts.
All that was out there. But it somehow gets worse. See, it's not enough that
Superior.
quite frankly, too fucking easy.
Alright, no, I know it.
I heard her. That way.
My nigga, you could have made a post, like retweeted, had a quote about it, and all of this shit really wouldn't have tested.
I got enough arrows.
It's not the fact that you made sure that your beliefs were not outlined. You made sure
Poison arrows.
that it was written a contract between you two that you'd be void if you no longer worked for the team. It wasn't even enough that reported allegedly your uncle was making sure he called a player every month on the dot to make sure the check got cleared. That wasn't
You wet, bitch.
come to find out. Kawhi signs an extension in August. Steve Ballmer
Damn, it's a lot of shit out of this bitch.
generous commitment to aspiration around the reset. And then Kawhi makes an LLC 2 months later. The name of the LLC is KL2.
This girl like fighting that bitch.
All of this happened within a matter of months. What makes it worse is that Kawhi will name the LLC KL2 Aspirations. That's the only one that's
Yeah. Everybody can get it. Shit. Oh fuck. Holy shit. Alright. Ain't got no kind of scope. Nice and calm. Damn, they want me to go down. Oh. Y'all motherfuckers up. Fuck the rest of y'all motherfuckers.
Sounds about right.
Holy shit. Fuck. Fucking kidding me, bro.
And a bunch of other people who all participated.
Fucking just stayed up here.
But no. In the investigation, it actually references Project 2020, which is the Democrats' revision of Project 2020.
Dang, I better pick shit. This shit. God damn, where is it coming from?
Anyone there? Like, when they sit here and tell me that it's this elementary, shut the fuck up, dog. This nigga has big statements. I don't know how the fuck this nigga has accessibility to this shit like this. You don't see this balance? That's that's $92 million in his fucking account. Do y'all see this shit, bro? Please, I'm begging you. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up, nigga. Oh, there it is. Right there.
Y'all really just jump that fucking hard?
Yeah. Lawrence, I told you that. If you knew. Yeah, the co-founder has already pled guilty. Co-founder's already pled guilty to this shit, alright? So, the fraud is done. It's without a doubt that there's fraud. That's but we don't really even have to guess. We know for a fact because if he pled guilty to fraud case.
Idu, it's me, your hunting student.
It's done. That shit is done.
How did you find me?
Abdullah sent me to help you.
We
You injured some of my legs.
we know that.
Now get me out of this place. The door is stuck.
Hold on, I'll try and fix it.
Here, I am here.
I wouldn't be surprised if
No power. I'll try to reconnect it. Easy, girl.
Where is that? Jonathan, stop. Aspirations Partners co-founder charged with pleading guilty to a $248 million scheme to defraud investors and lenders. Like I said, this is very serious. When niggas sit here and try to like key this shit, y'all niggas, y'all be like, I would do the same thing. Shut the fuck up, dog. There you go.
Yes.
Nobody
I should be able to get in
sitting
now.
here agreeing to what they would or wouldn't do the same thing in this type of situation. No, you wouldn't. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Don't say that you would. Please don't say that you would agree to this. This is real
I think that's it.
shit. Criminal activity. Let's stop. You niggas want to be contrarians or get some jokes off. Nigga, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud. Hey, shut the fuck up. Please stop. Please stop. Also, I love how the NBA is just dropping movies left and right now. This has been like the biggest, like, this has been the most dead NBA ever.
You too.
Like, time covering this one. And now all of a sudden, we get a random fucking news story out of it. Yes, we talked about now the only way that the contract was voided, if it's the only way that the contract.
This metal bird is a trap.
I'm sorry.
Now,
I tried those metal jaws in the floor, but they would not open either.
The first one being what Mark Hughes, because it needs to be this is why I said I think a lot of people should probably stop trying to defend some shit without knowing what's going on, right? Let's pump our brakes there, right?
Get back!
Damn it. I just need to get these doors open.
Right, but I wouldn't put the company in defense of anyone. We're talking about the entity that's already been found guilty, or at least the co-founder has already been found guilty of fraud of nearly $250 million. I would
escape the metal burn.
Steve Ballmer
Narrow victory, Saren.
and
We must
the
fly
company
close
was
to
just
death to
a
soar
thing.
through life.
For Kawhi, as we've already noticed, they were branding stuff all in the arena.
I should
They
never
were
have
a
left her.
partner with
She's hurt and alone.
She can't be
with
far.
Mutual Dome.
Zome is strong and
It wasn't
brave.
like that was the only thing.
We will find her.
You
Together.
see stuff like this,
We have
you
to.
jump out of the
You
window.
have not bonded, Sarentu. You do not know how it is.
They
Tell
got
me.
scanned by aspiration.
Born like no other.
Crimes for
Fly as
which
one.
they pled
Think
guilty
as one.
last week.
I hope to have a bond
Scammers
with
Come on, dude,
Zome.
hurry up.
That is my deepest hope. I think I heard that. That way.
That's a huge deal.
How did you choose her?
Pause.
She chose me.
The fact
That is
that
how it
Mark
is.
Cuban
She trusted me.
and
Now
owner is letting you know
I cannot lose her.
from him capitalizing all the letters in Q that it's an
Okay.
abnormal deal. This is an abnormal deal. So you're telling me
Ito.
that doesn't raise
We
any
should stop.
eyebrows?
No. Zome needs me.
The better the team does,
Rest a
the more
while.
value
You keep looking for her. Try and find her scent. I will catch up.
They stole money from investors and want the Clippers to succeed. Why not give stolen money to help keep their best player? It's sad that Pablo didn't take the time to find out how these scammers pull off their scam. The idea that we thought his Ballmer is a bad guy is going to backfire. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you actually watch the video, not once is there any clear indication that Steve Ballmer is like this horrifically bad guy. Matter of fact, there is some information that points out that Steve Ballmer actually does believe in the company. There's emails. Say has emails aside. His emails. There's emails that literally states that Steve Ballmer is ecstatic to work with the company. So there's no real indication that he's a bad guy because he works with aspiration. That's not what we're saying.
Ito, quick, I found her.
And he could potentially, allegedly, have used that relationship to funnel money towards Pandora. It could be both. He could actually believe in the company. He could actually believe that they do really great things. Again, if they have a relationship when they both went to Howard.
What have they done to you, my beautiful?
Those things have to be.
I am here now.
The way that this is presented, it's not presented like it's.
Let me carry your veins on me.
Steve Ballmer could genuinely believe.
Let me help you.
Will also allegedly, potentially, use the.
We have to go home,
funnel
Zome.
money towards Kawhi.
You have to fight so we can go home
When
together.
you niggas jump out the window and say these things,
You are not fighting. You were supposed to. Do not leave me,
unless
please.
we need to start doing stuff in your business.
I am sorry.
But we can save her. Can't we?
Unless we need to start digging up your business.
Return to Ewa.
Unless you're afraid that some of this is triggering some interesting dialogue around the league.
I was too late, Ito. I'm so sorry. Please, if there's anything I can do.
Tell it to I say. Thanks to you, friend. Zome's last flight must be honored. Perhaps we can do it together once I return to home.
I'll give you some time alone.
That's a lot of things. That's a lot of money, Mark. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Be very mindful that the Mavericks were an organization that let Steve Nash go during that summer because they didn't want to pay him. Like Finley walked as well. They were struggling to find a center at the same time for Dirk to go into pay cuts. Wow. That's interesting. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Now, again, I want to be clear here. Go watch the 1 hour long episode. It's very informational. I'm just giving you the bullet points. I'm just highlighting some pivotal pieces that I think is very understandable information.
I love that thing. Where did they source the dye
Hop
from?
out the window and start talking and running
Some
about
mineral they
things,
found
anything
near the
that
dyer's
occurs.
bowl.
Please
At
understand
least, I think
that
so.
you could potentially
I
be
hope I
agreeing
have something you like.
to fraud to the level of nearly $300 million. So please understand this. If I were you, I would shut the fuck up. Just wait for a second, right? Because we can all sit here and go back and forth about, oh man, we had a fun time talking about, what's going to happen with the Clippers. But
Let
also,
me
you
know
gotta
if I
see
can help
that
with
this could
anything else.
potentially be something much bigger than that.
Have you seen Ruan?
However,
Do
since
you
we are
know
in
where
these
Ruan
things,
is?
and we're only going to talk, we'll more so focus on
So many
the
things,
basketball
Laura.
side.
That's straight on hold.
Okay, the feds are. Well,
What are you
he's like
looking
guilty
for
to the
now?
feds. He pled guilty to the feds. It's done.
Go on now.
No, it is. That's who he pled. Brother, this is the Department of Justice.
Pressures bring the dish
That is the U.S. Department of Justice.
Come
This
to
is
better
not.
yourself.
This ain't local California shit, nigga. No. This ain't local shit, nigga. Oh, it's blurry?
Stay sharp, young
Y'all
one.
see it now? Y'all see that? Yeah, this ain't no, this ain't, nah. Yeah, that, I know y'all can't see the URL, but that URL says justice.gov. That don't say, ain't no .com, nigga. That's a .gov. Yeah, this is dumb. So
Want to ride out to the Five Sisters tomorrow?
This is it.
Sounds good.
Now,
I always loved the legend.
in terms,
Five Sisters, like that.
and just in case, you're still wondering,
That is what I heard. And what?
the FBI will continue to work with
I think someone is pulling your tail.
to
Nobody
ensure
can just
this
live in
kind
the
of
rocks.
malicious behavior is investigated and stopped. The FBI. The FBI. So no, this isn't some local shit. Again, when niggas are sitting here saying, "Oh man,
We do not
it's-
need
it's
outsiders,
rudimentary,
Reggie.
it's no elementary." Please stop.
One of his business was mischievous as a boy.
What? I cannot imagine that. He is so serious.
That is what I said. But they promised me he was always in trouble with his mother for playing tricks on elders.
Laura, you gonna react to players' choices taken in Kawhi today? Probably not, because there's not really much there. Too many people were responding and reacting to this before they knew what was going on. Too many people. Too many people.
We are not some brawling Zeswa, and Tua should know better.
Before they knew what was going on. Last. Where is the Shams? Here we go. Thank you. Goodness. Shams decided post the Clippers response. It's really interesting to me how like things are being reported right now. Real journalism happened. And niggas just like, Clipper statement. Let's let it go. Clipper statement. Clipper statement. I'm gonna post all this shit today.
Did you hear what Tua said?
DJ Washington. we get this little weak ass statement, all this shit. Clipper statement.
Fuck.
The Clipper statement says, the Clipper statement states, neither the Clippers nor Steve Ballmer circumvented the salary cap. The notion that Steve invested in aspiration in order to funnel money to Kawhi Leonard is absurd. Steve invested because Aspiration's co-founder presented themselves as committed to doing right by their customers while protecting the environment. After a long campaign of marketing manipulation, which defrauded not only Steve but numerous other investors in sports teams, Aspiration filed for bankruptcy. Its co-founder Joseph Sandberg recently pled guilty to a $243 million fraud. Neither Steve nor the Clippers had knowledge of any improper activity by Aspiration or its co-founder until after the government initiated its investigation. Aspiration was a team sponsor for the 2021-2022, the 22-23 season before defaulting on its contract. There is nothing unusual or untoward about the team sponsors during endorsement deals with players on the same team. Neither Steve nor the Clippers organization had any oversight in Kawhi's independent endorsement agreement with Aspiration. Personally speaking, I just would have left that part out. That part, I potentially would have left. To say otherwise is flat out wrong. The Clippers take NBA compliance extremely serious, full of respect and welcome its investigation related to Aspiration. Clippers will also continue to cooperate with law enforcement in its investigation into Aspiration's blatant, fraudulent activity. Now, it's really, really hard. The reason why I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this without saying something that also could be incorrect. The reason
The
why
Sky people are no
it is
real
so
threat.
hard
They are
to
tiny.
believe that statement is because of the details that have been reviewed. You are saying that you're separate from Aspiration's deal with Kawhi. Okay, fair. However, in the contract, it literally says that the only way that the contract would be voided if Kawhi plays for another team. It says that. If you were separated from the dealings, why would they deem it necessary to put that in the contract? Why? If it's separate. If y'all saying this, I put money in there, we have a relationship, and they have a relationship. That's interesting. It's also interesting that throughout this entire time of them existing, that they never had any relationships with any other NBA teams in the state of California. That's also very interesting. The only relationships that they had, if it's truly independent, were immediately associated with the Clippers through not only Kawhi, but also
Always be ready. A single arrow can turn.
Interesting. But the biggest reason why
From the tide of battle.
all of this is
The
just
Sky people
odd
rot our lands. They must be stopped.
is because it's what he didn't do. It's the fact that he literally didn't do anything. It's the fact that you all went out of your way to make sure clauses like this was in the contract. shall have the right to terminate the agreement without prejudice to any other rights that company may have upon written notice to KL2 for cause, or if Leonard is no longer an employee of the team for any reason. Why would they put that in the contract? Then it also says in the contract, for avoidance of doubt. So let's get real technical. If Leonard is still being paid by the team, Clippers, but is a member of another NBA organization or has retired, either of those incidences shall still qualify as a triggering event for termination by company. What does that matter? What does it matter if he plays for another team? And then you would have to terminate this. What does it matter if he retires? And you would have to terminate this. What does that matter?
I'll be back on tomorrow. I'm going to bed.